Joining me on the line as he was a part of the... You were a part of KGGO at the time, weren't you?
Oh, heavens, yes. I'd been there a whole 2 years.
There you go. Jack Emerson's on the line. He does middays for
Hello.
us 9 to 2. Hi, Jack.
Hello. Happy Ozzy Day.
Yay, Ozzy Day. What did Ozzy bring you?
What did Ozzy bring me? He hasn't brought me anything yet. I'm still waiting.
There you go. You brought me a
We got a
onesie.
long
It was
way to
weird.
go on Ozzy Day. Yeah.
All right, Jack. Let's get to let's get down to brass tacks here, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jack Emerson on the line. Sorry, I didn't mean to go into Jim Rome. Jack, you were there at Vets the night that all of this happened. Was this a KGGO show, or was it just kind of general rock show?
No, it was a KGGO show. We were there doing stage announcements, actually, and that's one of the reasons we were backstage for the show. We were kind of stage left. I was standing there with the record label person and one of the promoters and Larry Moffat. I'm sure some people remember Larry Moffat.
Never heard of him.
But yeah, I know.
I'm kidding. There's going to be somebody that's like, B-sox, you shut your damn... Anyways. All right, so you and Moffat were there. Who got to do the stage announcement for Ozzy?
We just warmed up between the acts,
Okay.
And the actual promoter came out and announced Ozzy on stage.
Oh, I bet he was awesome doing his job, right?
Yeah, he was pretty good. We heard him from back. They had the green room at Vets at that time, so we were kind of back in the green room. And when he came on, he played a couple of songs, and then we came out and stood, like I said, stage left there by one of the amplifiers, and we just kind of watched it. And we were looking at the people. The place was full.
Yeah.
You know, and if you remember, well, you don't remember Vets Auditorium. You
Yes,
like
I
when
do.
you rolled it. Anyway, it was like the world's largest airplane hangar. Okay, for a concert.
Yeah.
You walk out of there, you can't hear for like a month.
Oh yeah,
Anyway.
no. When I say I've been to Vets a lot. A lot of wrestling, a lot of state championships.
Yeah.
A lot of Barnstormer games.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
anyway, it was place was rocking. It was pretty full, and we were kind of looking at the crowd, and we were kind of watching Ozzy, and he came out and did his thing, and he had the crowd energized. Everybody was on their feet, and the show was going well. And like I say, we just kind of stood back there and rocked with him, and. I'm trying to, you got to remember this was 39 years ago. Okay. I got one of those wings closed for remodeling. Okay. So I'm trying to remember what's going on here. I don't remember the exact song. I think it was one of the encores. We never saw it come up on stage, said back.
Okay.
But we saw him bend over. I remember seeing him bend over, okay, and doing something, but we didn't know what he was doing. He said something to the effect of, Ozzy, hey, guys,
yeah.
Party! And he put both hands in the air, and you could see he had something in his hand.
Okay.
He put both hands in the air. Okay, that was cool. And we were waiting for another song. Well, then two handlers came out and grabbed him and started to walk him back towards us on the left side of the stage. And we had no idea what was going on. And he walked right by us. Hey, Oz, nice show. Flashed in the heavy metal sign. Hey, guys, have a nice day and whatnot. So he was gone. They took him down the stairs, and he was gone. And basically the show was over at that time. We had no idea what had happened. Like I said, I never actually saw the critter in question come up on stage or anything like that. But then we come to find out the next morning what had happened. It was like, you kidding me? From the legend was born at that time. I mean, you got to remember some of the things Ozzy did. Snorting ants.
Yeah.
Doing things in shoes outside of hotel room doors.
Yeah.
If you saw The Dirt by Motley Crue, what he did by the pool deck, that's a true story.
Just
I'm not going to get into
boy.
that because, yeah. But it really didn't surprise anybody involved after we'd heard about it. It was like, oh, okay, that's John Michael. That's what he does to fire up the crowd. So. Yeah, but we honestly didn't know what had happened. So anyway.
See, that's the really interesting thing about it. When I've talked to some of the other people today, like one dude, Steve Hickel, he was in the balcony, and they didn't see it at all. He goes, people were throwing stuff up on stage all night, and, Ozzy would kind of look at it and stuff. But he goes, not once did we think, oh, he bit the head off a bat.
No. I don't know that. I mean, you probably did in the front row. I don't know if you talked to anybody who was in the front row today or not, but that's the only place you could probably see it because, like I said, we were right backstage. We didn't see anything out of the ordinary at the time. Well, I mean, Ozzy's out of the ordinary, so you never know. But
Well, let me ask you. One, I mean, at that point in radio, that was a much different time, and being backstage actually meant something.
Oh, absolutely.
Where nowadays,
Absolutely.
I don't think people realize how boring it is. Everybody always wants a backstage pass, but it doesn't really mean anything.
No, that kind of changed, I guess, in probably the 90s, the early 2000s and whatnot. And there was not a lot of access granted after that time. I mean, the 80s, you could go back and you'd see some things happening backstage that, you might be able to write a few books on.
Yeah. But
I know I could, but I understand exactly what you mean. Yeah, it's totally different.
Being backstage at this, and this is kind of the question that I've been asking everybody all day. What was it like, as you look back on it, especially 39 years ago today, what's it like to be a part of rock history like that? Not only just as a spectator in the building, but the station that presented the show. Was it an actual presents or was it a welcomes?
It was a welcome.
Okay.
We welcomed him at the time, and he was hotter than smoke. I mean, he had Blizzard come out. This was the Diary of the Madman tour.
Yep.
And he was just smoking hot at that time. He was filling arenas all over the country. It was really an honor on our part to have that. The welcome on the show, and we got great. I remember we got great cooperation with that. We gave away some backstage passes. I don't think anybody ever saw him. I know they saw members of the band back there, as I did.
Yeah.
But when we were backstage, we never actually saw Ozzy.
And real quick, just a little inside info for anybody that might be listening to this part. The difference between a welcome and a presents, essentially someone else is bringing the band in, so you welcome them. If it's a presents,
exactly.
It's the radio station is putting on the show.
Exactly. And the welcome was the fact that, basically nobody else was really playing Ozzy at the time, as I recall. We were the only station that was playing his records and whatnot, so the promoters gave us the welcome. I mean, the presents is the promoter itself, whoever that may be.
Yeah.
But they come to the radio station and say, well, would you like to do the welcome? And they give you the tickets to give away and the possible backstage passes and the possible bats to throw up on stage, stuff like that there.
So after all of this was said and done, I mean, being a part of that, it's got to be a little surreal, right? Especially now looking back at it.
I can't believe it was 39 years ago. I mean, it's and it's worthy of a day. I mean, it's worthy of us doing a day for this because we are a part of rock history. There's, the Ozzy Nation and Rock Nation in general all over the world have been reading about this forever, and it happened right here in Big D, so it's really neat to be and have been a part of that. And I guess we're still a part of it because that will go down in rock and roll lore for a long time.
You know what's funny about it, and I admitted this to a few people earlier, I didn't know until a few years ago that it actually happened in Des Moines.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was one of those things that you heard the story, but no one ever said where it was.
And it just built itself up over time. There were so many different stories that were told. Well, he ate the whole bat.
Yep.
He took the wings off the bat. He bit the head off, and then there was somebody threw a chicken up there, and he did the same thing, and yada yada yada. So after the show here, people started, and I remember this at his subsequent tour stops. They started throwing stuff up on stage, and it was like, with this guy, you may want to do what they did in Blues Brothers, put some chicken wire in front of the stage. So he can't get to it. But yeah, there was people throwing all kinds of stuff up on stage to see what he could do.
First off, I want you to try to imagine Ozzy doing rawhide.
Hey, Roddy, what? Thank you.
Imagine Ozzy operating a whip.
But yeah, that was what happened. I mean, in subsequent shows, and they beefed up security. I know in the next couple of weeks at the tour stops that he made in the front row, just to make sure nobody was throwing things up there that because he'd have got him. He'd have got him. He'd do anything to fire up a crowd.
Yes,
he's a showman. He's a showman, and he'd do anything.
So what happened with...
That was the problem.
Yeah, really. At the time, did anybody call GGO about this, or was there any press? Was there any Or was it just one of those stories that it was done and then years later it turned into something? What happened after?
There was a little bit of an aftermath. People were calling up asking us, if we had seen anything and what happened. And I remember being called. I think I was called by the Register, and I said, well, just like I told you, explain it. We didn't see anything. We were backstage, but we didn't see anything.
Yeah.
And then it just kind of manifested itself over the years. It got bigger and it got bigger and it got bigger, and it just became part of rock and roll lore. But a lot of people didn't realize, I think, that it happened here. They were thinking maybe some other tour stop somewhere. But then as the years went on, they realized, oh, yeah, that happened in Des Moines back on January 20th, 1982, so.
Well, like I said, I didn't know about it. To me, it was one of those things. It's like you heard the story, but you never, not once did it ever cross my mind that, oh, that might have happened here. Because that stuff doesn't happen in Des Moines.
I know. And it was one of those things that I'm not going to sit here and say we were proud of it. I don't know that we're still proud of it or not, but it happened right here on this date, January 20th, 1982.
Well, Jack, I appreciate story time with you. That's really cool, and that, boy, just look at, like, I'm thinking some of the cool stuff I've gotten to do doesn't even come close to being there the night Ozzy bit the head off the bat.
Well, you haven't been doing this as long as I have. You got cool stuff on the horizon.
All right, Jack, you have yourself a wonderful night, and I appreciate it, okay?
Hey, you bet. Happy Ozzy Day, everybody.
Thanks for listening to this 95 KGGO podcast. Make sure to check out KGGO.com for more.